Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Total Extreme Wrestling. I'm BrendenPlayz, and this is our TNA playthrough of 2007. Just 2 weeks to go until Bound for Glory. We're going to finally get there, and we are wrapping up our last number of impacts before we get to the big pay-per-view. We went ahead and booked some shows, but let's catch you up with our recent history. Let's take a look at No Surrender, which of course was the finale of the Bound for Glory series. AJ Styles won the Bound for Glory series, beating Christian Cage in the final of that 99 rated match they had. The Addiction, they defeated Austin Aries and Roderick Strong. LAX and the Kings of Wrestling in a fatal 4-way tag team match. We had Alex Shelley beat Jay Lethal to keep the X Division Championship. Muhammad Hassan defeated Sting to retain the TNA World Championship. Christian defeated Chris Jericho earlier on the night, part of the Bound for Glory series. Shinsuke Nakamura beat Matt Morgan by countout. Lita defeated Christy Hemme, Gail Kim, and Sarita in a fatal 4-way match. CM Punk also beat Shannon Moore. And AJ Styles defeated Abyss, a part of the Bound for Glory series there as well. So 96 overall was the rating for No Surrender. It was a great show. Honestly, great show, and 96 is actually the best rated show we've had throughout the series. We haven't been able to beat that, and that's generally because, from my experience, to get any better than that, basically you need to pay extra money to have a better ring, maybe get a few celebrities involved, have some live music. Those types of things, that's what gets you that extra rating. But we're not always able to do that because, as you can see, we've only got $10 million in the bank. We're only making about $300,000 per month, or sometimes a little bit more. $1 million in August, which is good. $900,000, $600,000. So probably, it varies. Back in March, we're only making around that $300,000 mark again. So up and down is our finance at the moment. So you can't really splurge too much on trying to get that big extra rating show because celebrities, they're pretty costly. When you look at Bound for Glory, yeah, we're going to bring in some C-list celebrities, but you see, we're already paying $250,000 for the extra, on the set extra. We go to B-list, we're looking at a $1 million cost, and I don't even think our buy rate would really cover that. If we go any more for the band, well, again, it goes from $25,000 to $1 million. So, yeah, if we had, $50 million in the bank, maybe we consider that. But when you only have $10 million, not the best idea to try and do something like that. But anyways, let's get back to the recent results. Impact, we followed up with a 94 rated show, which featured Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy teaming up to defeat the America's Most Wanted tag team. Nakamura defeated Tess, Melina beat Beth Phoenix, Homicide beat Chris Sabin, 93 rated that match. And we started building towards Muhammad Hassan, AJ Styles. We had a big segment, I believe, as well, with Samoa Joe, who I think he basically turned babyface. The main event Mafia attempted to recruit him, and then he got beaten up because he declined. On Explosion, Matt Hardy beat Chris Harris, Lita defeated Natalia, CM Punk and Pac defeated Shannon Moore and Rocky Romero. And then most recently, we had another Impact show as well. We had the main event Mafia state that Samoa Joe, he's outnumbered, and there's no way that they're going to be able to stop them from beating up Samoa Joe. Nakamura defeated Kevin Thorne just to give him another win. Team 3D back in action. They beat Team Canada. Reason being for that is I think we might use Team 3D to team up with Samoa Joe, and at Bound for Glory maybe do some kind of big tag team match. A 6-man tag match with the main event Mafia perhaps. The Machine Guns, they defeated LAX, and that obviously because Homicide is feuding with Alex Shelley, so we get a chance to do that match and kind of break it up a little bit. Lita defeated Natalia, and we had Muhammad Hassan, Christian Cage, and America's Most Wanted. An 8-man tag defeat AJ Styles, Chris Jericho, and the Hardy Boys there. So America's Most Wanted able to fire back with a win of their own, also giving Hassan a win and Christian a win, probably because most likely at Bound for Glory, maybe Styles could win, Chris Jericho could win, and maybe even the Hardys could win. So maybe all the babyfaces will win at Bound for Glory. So let's give them some wins now before the big event to give them some momentum. Maybe. That's to be decided, but it's a possibility. And finally, to wrap things up on Explosion, we gave CM Punk some promo time He had a promo on Shannon Moore. I thought CM Punk would do a little bit better with this, considering he has really good mic skills, but didn't quite execute there. James Storm defeated Frankie Kazarian, a part of the Bound for Glory tag team match that's going on for the tag titles. Abyss hyped up his match with Lesnar. Oh yeah, we forgot that we did have Lesnar debut. We'll go back to that. Lita defeated Christy Hemme, and Matt Morgan defeated R-Truth. But yeah, we did have Brock Lesnar make his TNA debut. So Lesnar came out, all the hype about him, the hype and the promo videos, kind of talking about his career, what he's been able to accomplish, how great he is. And then, he comes out to cut a promo, it gets interrupted by Abyss. Lesnar was not happy about that at all, and they just went for it. So Abyss, sick and tired of hearing all about Brock Lesnar, came out, got his face, two big men, and just went at it. So that's kind of what we did there. And I don't know how that match is going to go, honestly. It could be really good, it could be bad, who knows. But to me, it intrigues me. Abyss, our top heel, 92 pop. Brock Lesnar, very, very popular himself, 90 popularity. It could work. Lesnar coming in on a one-off appearance, in a one-off match. Probably Abyss should go over. We'll see. We'll see what happens, but it'll be interesting nonetheless. Lesnar does not have Paul Heyman, of course. If we had Lesnar for a longer term, yeah, we probably would put Heyman with him, but at the moment, no Heyman with Lesnar. But because it has been a new month since we last had an episode, lots of things have been going down, including a lot of contract situations. Nothing that really has affected us, but I thought I'd mention them anyways. For example, Arn Anderson, road agent for WWE, he extended his deal with WWE. Michael Cole extended. Rene Dupree extended. Rene Dupree, very, very young. Started very, very young. Good brawler, decent chain wrestling, decent basics, okay mic skills, good star quality. So, he does actually have a lot of promise, and the fact he's 23, if you had him for another 2, 3, 4 years, would really, really improve it. Let's have a look at his skills. And yeah, actually, not a hell of a lot of improvement. In some areas, yes, but not like a huge, very fast improvement. Psychology has, though. But if you send him down to developmental, for example, for a year or two, he would definitely become a tremendous talent. But not for us, anyways. We still can't seem to beat WWE in the national battle, unfortunately. Global Force Wrestling, which is our developmental, giving good old Jack Swagger a contract. So we're not actually signing him to a deal ourselves, but a pay-per-appearance deal for Jack Swagger to come in and work for us, which is cool. Lance Kane, his contract is up. I believe we could still offer him a deal if we wanted to at $11,000. But I believe if you get Cade, you kind of need Murdoch, and both guys, yeah, not really on our radar. The other interesting one would be Tori Wilson, who I believe WWE are not offering her a new deal. So 32-year-old Tori Wilson, great popularity, very, very high popularity at the 70 mark. You can see she started about, even further back than 53, but we'll say 53. And they've actually done a good job with her in particularly the last 3 or 4 months, getting her popularity in the 70s, which is fantastic from them. And she hasn't had that many wins, as opposed to the last few months, maybe where the performance and the improvement has been because she's been on a big winning streak. Even getting 2 victories over Trish Stratus, I'm sure that certainly helped her case. But yeah, so, Tori, she's not a great wrestler whatsoever, but definitely has some good popularity about her, that is for sure. But again, not for us. Goldberg's contract is ending. Goldberg, we brought him in August 2006, so he's had just a bit over a year of a deal. And look, if we were going to keep playing this playthrough, would we re-sign Goldberg? Perhaps. He hasn't really had that many matches. He's had 6 matches and only lost once, and that loss, I believe, was against Muhammad Hassan, so that's the only guy who's beaten Goldberg. Lashley will probably beat Goldberg at Bound for Glory, but yeah, so Goldberg's been protected pretty nicely, but his performances have not been very good at all. If you look at his match history, averaging 80, which isn't terrible. Best match of 85, worst of 75, so at least he's pretty consistent. Pretty consistent that, he's not going to give you the best match in the world, but he's not going to underperform it, either. So, would we re-sign Goldberg? Maybe. I think another 6 months would be good if you wanted to use him to put over a few more guys. But, yeah. Other than that, Jay Lethal's contract was also expiring. We want to keep him with us, but I feel like if you kept it with Ring of Honor, it would just be a good move to keep Ring of Honor strong. I think Jay Lethal's probably their most popular guy in the company because, our big push to him really helped him. Kenta, his contract is up as well, and you can see All Japan is giving him a touring deal. And I think because Kenta has struggled a little bit to break away in our mid-card, what you would do with him is you probably would give him a pay-per-appearance deal, a little bit like a Tanahashi. Give him a pay-per-appearance deal, let him go back to Japan if he wants to and work there, and kind of do that. So, that way he can do the tours, he can do what he wants, but also stay under contract with us because he's a great worker. But yeah, so that's the kind of the recent news that we had. Obviously, we will be ending the series at Bound for Glory, but you do want to make those decisions regardless and kind of act as though you were playing Beyond. Some people have requested that I upload the save file for this save once we're finished Bound for Glory and let you guys continue to play it on if you want to. I think that's a really cool thing to do, and we probably will do that. So, if you play TW yourselves, you want to keep the TNA run going, well, hey, you can take over and you can keep on booking. We've got Mickie James on the roster. I think we might have her get some kind of involvement maybe at Bound for Glory. I think that would be cool for her, to make her debut. That's kind of the place where you would do that. She does need a gimmick, but we need to assign something there for her. 90 charisma. Can you believe that? 90 charisma. She's a very good worker. If we had another year, 6 months, she definitely would have won the Knockouts Championship for sure. She's awesome. Very, very good stats. She's got everything you want in a champion. Instead, we kind of have to go with Lita a little bit more, but we did improve Lita in her stamina and made her a little bit better. And because of that, she's done much, much better herself. So Lita, very, very good. Melina still has been the staple behind our women's division. I mean, she's held the championship forever. 28 defenses. She's had it. She'll be 1 year that she's had the championship if she can make it to Bound for Glory, which she absolutely will, which is a pretty impressive run. You got to say that. Muhammad Hassan's had a year-run title reign as well. But Gal Kim, the only one who had the championship other than Melina, and she's had a really good run herself, but certainly Melina's been excellent. I suppose, we might look more back on the series as a whole going forward and kind of think about, well, should we have done this? Should we have done that? I suppose the one thing I would probably say is maybe I should have given a few more guys the championship, and I think a lot of us would have agreed with that. We really wanted to make Muhammad Hassan our guy, and we definitely accomplished that. He was really, really good, but, we've had so many top-tier names come through and, really develop. Like, Abyss absolutely deserved a run at some point. Styles has been excellent, a huge rise just in the last 6 months. Before that, not so much. Jericho, great to get him. Christian obviously was champion. Fallen Angel would have loved to give him a run. And then you go to Jeff Hardy, Jeff Jarrett, who've been really solid, very reliable for us. Samoa Joe just was never able to get the popularity that we're hoping out of him. And then you got guys like Scott Steiner and Sting, the veteran names that definitely could have done a job for you and been pretty decent. So lots of good names that probably deserve some type of run, some type of recognition that just couldn't quite get there. But, obviously if you kept playing, once Hassan drops the championship, that's when you probably would say, okay, maybe we'll look to get on a babyface. Maybe AJ Styles is that guy, maybe a Chris Jericho. And then you look at Abyss and maybe try and get him a run afterwards and kind of give him that big monster reign that I think he deserves. But anyways, that's kind of something we'll look towards after Bound for Glory. We'll do probably, I don't know if we'll do a full reflection episode, for example, but we'll definitely spend some time reflecting on the series because that's something I think will be fun to do. Just kind of reflect and kind of think about the decisions that we made and where we could have changed. But for now, we've got to get to Bound for Glory, which is 2 more episodes of Impact away. We're going to book one of them for this episode, and we'll show you some results. So let's get straight into it, and let's get ready to book up. We might use Lesnar on this show. We definitely used him last week, obviously, with the Brawl. Don't know how many appearances we have for Lesnar. I think we should be able to cover him. Yes, he's got 4 more appearances, so absolutely we can use Lesnar again this week, and maybe even on an Explosion as well, just to use up his dates, because we have technically five shows left, 4 appearances to use, so we could use him on a double up if we wanted to, or even use him post Bound for Glory. Whatever you wanted to do, you could do it that way. Alright, so let's get into it, and we'll come back and we'll show you some of the results. Okay, so we're all booked up for this week's Impact. Let's show you the results. We had CM Punk on the pre-show. He took on Sonjay Dutt, 74, rated match. CM Punk 77, Sonjay Dutt 73. Nice match there between those two. Opened up the show with Brock Lesnar calling out Abyss. He said he's not finished with Abyss yet. He wants a little bit more. And if Abyss is going to blindside him, get in his face, well, Lesnar is more than happy to do it again this week. He's more ready for it. And here we go. He wants Abyss here tonight, but Abyss doesn't show up. Well, at least that's what Lesnar thought. Blindsided from behind, Abyss coming out through the ring, I suppose. If you can fit under there. He comes out through the ring and attacks Brock Lesnar. And that was a 99 rated. We then had our first match of the show with Matt Hardy, Fallen Angel, and Chris Harris. One member of each team that will compete in the Tag Team Championship match at Bound for Glory in a triple threat. Matt Hardy, 90, really good. Fallen Angel, 92. Chris Harris, 88. Everyone in this match did really, really well. Only hit 86 though, despite those performances. Fallen Angel did pick up the victory. Muhammad Hassan had a promo on AJ Styles in 93. We then had Melina and Christy Hemme team up to take on Lita and Gail Kim, 79. That was not too bad at all. Christy Hemme, 66, Melina, 86, Gail Kim, 87, Lita, 86, so that's excellent. Lita and Gail Kim showed excellent chemistry together, so that's probably why both their performances were very, very high. Christy Hemme kind of lacked, but she didn't do that bad. 66 is not bad at all, but obviously, in comparison, not so great. Paul Heyman had a promo on Goldberg about their upcoming match, and their upcoming segment, which will be the last standoff, the final standoff between Lashley and Goldberg, the last chance to air any grievances, last chance to get in their face before Bound for Glory, because next week, not going to happen. Next week, Roddy Piper has said both guys are banned from getting, anywhere near each other, because they want to tear each other apart. Well, he wants to make sure that this big match finally goes ahead of Bound for Glory. He's not taking any risks. Well, Lashley and Goldberg had a final standoff here, and had a chance to say their piece. Paul Heyman cut a promo. Goldberg and Lashley probably just stood there looking tough. Looked like they want to beat the crap out of each other. And when they're about to, well, they got split apart and made sure that wasn't going to happen. 100 rated in the end anyways. But yeah, so you can imagine how that would have went down. But, this feud has really worked well for Lashley. When we brought back Lashley from his MMA stint, it wasn't going to... I didn't know how he was going to go. His performances have been pretty poor. Before he left, his popularity wasn't really going that well. But I tell you what, ever since working with Goldberg, Lashley has become a megastar, and he hasn't even beaten Goldberg. He hasn't even faced him yet. And already Lashley's popularity is through the roof just because of these consistently really strong segments. And it's almost gotten to the point when we get to the match of Bound for Glory that actually beating Goldberg probably won't even help Lashley all that much, because Lashley's gotten that popularity already on his own just through these segments and the help of Paul Heyman. We had Samoa Joe and Scott Steiner going one-on-one. 40-minute match. Scotty Steiner going a little bit too long, but we did this to set up a DQ finish when Samoa Joe was attacked by Sting and Jeff Jarrett and Ric Flair. It was a beatdown, which turned out to work out pretty well for Samoa Joe, because the Dudleys, Team 3D, Brother Ray, Brother Devon, came out to save Samoa Joe, and they want to help Samoa Joe at Bound for Glory to even up the odds just a little bit more. It's still 4-on-3, but it's a little bit better than what it was looking like for Samoa Joe. So, we basically threw this together, gave Samoa Joe the Dudleys, because they're such a strong tag team. They deserve to be on Bound for Glory. We haven't got them in the tag title hunt this time, and they're also two guys that you can really rely on to deliver a strong performance. And the main event Mafia, God knows how they're going to go, so to have the Dudleys out there would really help boost the match rating here. So two reliable guys that should be able to help us lift it up a little bit further alongside Samoa Joe. So it's not as though he's getting, some no-name tag partners. He's getting one of the best tag teams we have in TNA. So that worked out pretty well for 99 rated. Be interested to see if they're gaining popularity from that segment. And then we had a promo afterwards with the Dudleys and Samoa Joe having a promo, and kind of, you know, they're announcing that, hey, we're with Joe, we're starting with him, and we're going to be with him there for the Bound for Glory match. Bound for Glory, yeah, for the match at Bound for Glory. So, I guess at the moment it's a 3-on-4, and we might keep it that way, give Main Event Mafia the numbers advantage, because if we want to have them win, which we probably would, we can play off the fact they had the numbers advantage and that the babyfaces couldn't overcome those odds. So it doesn't make them look so weak. Also makes Main Event Mafia look like they outsmarted them a little bit. They still got the upper hand, still got the leverage, and they still got the job done. If anything, if the Main Event Mafia lost when they had the numbers advantage, that's basically them done. You know, they would be finished. And you'd want the Main Event Mafia, since it's still a relatively new faction, you want to make them strong. They need a big win to really set them up. And Samoa Joe probably doesn't really need to win here to quote-unquote win. Just working with the top guys is enough. Main event was AJ Styles and A-Train. We had Muhammad Hassan on commentary. We wanted to give AJ Styles a big win. Well, he's had a few, but another big win just before Bound for Glory. And A-Train's a guy who's, unfortunately, he's almost, yeah, I guess he is the job, the main event job guy, I suppose. The designated guy who's going to lose, put over the top guy, unfortunately, and deliver a good match. He always does. 90 rated from him, Styles 96, 92 overall. Give Styles the big win, some momentum, bit of a kick up the backside just before Bound for Glory. And overall, it gave us a 94 rated show, which you're going to be happy with. You've got to be happy with. You want to make sure you're delivering and having those big performances just before, of course, Bound for Glory. But yeah, we set up a few things there. We kind of finalized the Lashley and Goldberg feud. We built up Lesnar a bit, just that little bit more. Did a bit there with Styles and, of course, Hassan. I guess Christian and Jericho missed out, so maybe next week we could focus a little bit more on that. The X Division missed out a little bit as well, so we could do a little bit of that on Explosion. We do have that show for a reason. Some contracts ending. Johnny Jeter, which is a guy part of the Spirit Squad, is up 60 pop, which is not a bad starting point for him. And to be honest, pretty good stats. Good mic skills, a 70 apiece. Chain wrestling's not bad. Mat wrestling's decent brawler. Good basics. You know, he has a lot of potential. That's because he really did. Back then, there was a lot of high hopes for him, but never really able to live up to it. Dutch Mantel, he's actually from TNA. His contract is up, so we'd have to think about renewing him. Of course, he's working with, he's got Kenta. I was going to say Hideo Itami, but it's Kenta, who All Japan altered their deal with Kenta, giving him a little bit more money. I can't see why he wouldn't consider both offers. I mean, he can do both. Sanjay Dutt wants another win. Yeah, I don't know about that. Our rating actually went down from last week. We hit a 9 rating, 9.03 I believe last week. This week, 8.90. Ric Flair likes what he hears from CM Punk, so does Goldberg, and so does Matt Hardy. So there you go, a bit of promise, and good old CM Punk. Jeez, I wonder if he'll go far in the business. He might do pretty good. He's got a lot of potential, apparently. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at right now. Obviously, we've got one more week's worth of shows to get to until we have Bound for Glory. What we might do, though, is we've got some time. We might go ahead and fill in and do the extra Explosion show. We might just cover more of that X Division stuff. But yeah, I want to also check in just quickly if there was any popularity change, because we had some strong segments. For example, Brock Lesnar, no change for him. AJ Styles had a good match. He's 91 now, which is such an incredible rise to the top there. And the Dudleys, they're doing okay. Brother Ray quite significantly lower than Devon, which is pretty odd. You think Brother Ray would probably be the better out of the two. I think we protected him just that little bit more, but surprisingly, is not the case. Lashley, you can see nearly up to 88 popularity, which I say that because Goldberg has 88 popularity. So Lashley probably won't gain that much. He might go to 90 if he pits Goldberg, but won't necessarily go too crazily over than what he already is. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at the moment. But it's good to get the Main Event Mafia more involved. It's really working for them. These segments are so strong, really helping their popularity go and go and go up. And even if they're not even winning, it doesn't really matter. They're doing so well. But what it has done is really boost Samoa Joe. As you can see, 83 popularity now. We take a look back, Last month, he was about, 79, low 80s, just struggling to get through that 80 mark. And you see throughout the last year, low 70s, and then he was low 70s until about March. So that's how long it took us to kind of get Samoa Joe moving, and he kind of got stuck there again. But it's been these last few months where we've finally got Samoa Joe through to these 80 mark. And I don't know if it was this week, but he's had a really big boost up recently, and working with the main event Mafia has really helped him out significantly well. So that's very strong for him. If he keep that up, that'd be fantastic. And I mean, he might not win a Bound for Glory, but I don't think he really needs to. I think he's already a winner. The amount of popularity that he has gained. But like I said, we'll go ahead, we'll do Explosion, and we'll come back and we'll show you some results. But yes, we've got 2 more other shows to do. So 2 Explosions and 1 more Impact until Bound for Glory. So every show does matter. So let's try and put on a good Explosion. Okay, this week's Explosion, and we definitely did try to up the ante a little bit on this week. We did have a big main event. We'll get to that in a moment. Start things off with Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin out there cutting a promo on Homicide, basically saying, look, Alex Shelley, I'm superior than everybody, especially Homicide. There's no way anybody could beat me, especially Homicide. Kind of playing off the fact that Homicide, a bit of an underdog at the moment, how good Alex Shelley's been going. Shelley has learned his lesson. He's not going to make the same mistake that he did with Jay Lethal, and how much better he's gotten, and that he's just better than everybody else in the X Division right now. So just kind of playing off that a little bit there. Sabin out there, not really do a lot, just to stand there and just kind of nod his head and agree and clap his hands or something whenever Shelley says something good. 88 rated though, so good way just to keep on building Homicide and Shelley. We had a big tag match with Nakamura and Tanahashi teaming up. There's a team for you. Taking on Matt Morgan and Monty Brown. Not a bad match in the end. And surprisingly, everybody performed well. Tanahashi, if you can believe it, was one of the worst in the match. 83. Nakamura 88. Monty Brown, of all people, 83. Unbelievable. That's big, considering he's the one guy who we always wanted to push, but just could never do it because of the fact his performances were just not as good as everybody else. But 83 from him is excellent. Matt Morgan 90. So Matt Morgan's the guy that, like I said, we played another 6 to 12 months. He might be that guy who takes that next top heel spot. But yeah, so 79 overall, not a bad match. Lita had a problem on Melina, 88 rated there, so that's going to help that storyline out. Hype video for Christian and Chris Jericho, rather, 92 rated. Then we had Chris Jericho in the main event. There's a treat for you. There's something I probably don't think he's done. The main event of Explosion, taking on Bobby Roode for the first time. This match has taken place 23 minutes, where Chris Jericho got the win over Bobby Roode. Christian on commentary to boost the storyline. Jericho 97, Bobby Roode good of 85. And that gives us an 87 rated Explosion. Well, there's a reason for the 3,000 fans that did to show up, and that's cool. So yeah, I guess it's something we haven't done a lot of, is give Explosion that big, not even, I was going to say pay-per-view, but big main event quality match, which I think that certainly was. Shelton Benjamin's contract is up, so there's a guy that you definitely want on your roster. Wowee. Chain Wrestling 85, Mat Wrestling 81, Flashiness 86, Basics of 90. Jeez, he is very good. 75 popularity too. That's really good as well, and that's being very consistent, so they haven't really done a hell of a lot with him in terms of push. You can see he actually hasn't had that many matches. In fact, has he been out injured? Hasn't had a match since July? He's got to be injured, surely. Hasn't had a single injury. They're just not using him. He's an upper mid-carder. They're not using him at all. Why? He's averaging 83, highest of 93. He's had 21 matches in the last, I don't know, is it 20 months, I suppose, or whatever it is? That's crazy. That's really crazy. And like I said, this year, 2007, he's had 5 matches all year. We're in October. 5 matches. He beat Rey Mysterio. He beat Matt Hardy. He beat Todd Jiminy. And he lost to Chris Benoit in the Royal Rumble. And he lost to Eddie Guerrero one-on-one. It's 1 match since April. That is really bad. He's not injured, as far as I know. But yeah, what a great performer he is. And again, he'd be awesome to bring in, but it's like, okay, who who sacrifices that spot for him. But I don't know what the rules are for the X Division, but he's a guy that I'm sure would definitely prosper, but he is a middleweight. I suppose a middleweight could qualify. I'm not sure. I don't think the X Division actually has any rules, so you can do whatever you want. But WWE offering nearly 23 grand for 2 years, which is very under compared to his value. He's valued at about 25. We could definitely offer him 28 comfortably if we wanted to. We will. Let's give WWE, let's make him work for it. Shelton Benjamin's a terrific competitor. Let's make him work for it. Good old Ryback's up for grabs as well, and his stats are probably quite inflated. I'm not sure, but brawling of 74, chain wrestling 40. Yeah, okay, that's more like it. Submissions of 54. Aerial flashiness. So the development that he's had has given him some decent stats, a lot better than what you probably would think, especially at this stage of the game. A lot better than his stats probably would have been in 2012 when he came back in. But yeah, so Ryback's there. He's there and working out of elemental. We'll work him a deal, but he's there if you want him. Anything else? All Japan continue to offer a deal for Kenta. Like I said, we can keep him because it's a paper appearance deal, but I guess he is doing a touring, so perhaps he might. Would he leave us for a touring deal? I don't think so. But I'll give him a better deal anyways. Reason why we're not going to lock him into a long-term deal is because I want him to work Japan. I think it's only going to benefit us if he goes to Japan and gets to 80 popularity and becomes a big star over there. Because then that can translate to us when we want to go to Japan. We can utilize him in that role. And the more matches he has, the better he gets. It's only going to help us. We're not really able to book him as much as we want to. So some of the guys definitely, I think these lower mid-card guys, if I was going to renegotiate with them, Matt Seidel's already doing it, but Marufuji, for example, most of these guys are already doing it, but I would definitely be having them on pay-per appearance deals. That way it frees up a bit of money for us as well. Austin Aries, he's doing that, even though he's got good popularity. But, I definitely would think about maybe Chris Hero, Cesaro, more of these log-end guys, Petey Williams for sure, Shannon Moore. Keeping them in the company, but on a pay-per-appearance deal. That way they can branch out, continue to work elsewhere. Yes, it improves and benefits other companies, but that's the fun of it to me. I like having competition. If Ring of Honor is doing well, I think that's fun. As long as WWE doesn't get them. That's really the only thing. As long as WWE doesn't get them, I'm happy. That's the only thing that really matters. But yeah, WWE, speaking of them, continue to challenge us from the Shelton Benjamin offer. They've now changed the tune up to $29,000. Now the beauty of competition, making you pay a lot more for a guy. But to be honest, if anyone really deserves it, is Shelton Benjamin. He's a really tremendous talent. Dixie, though, she's got a cap on what we're going to be able to offer him, so she can't afford any more than that. So that's the best we can probably do. So offer him that, a 5-year deal. But yeah, it would be really cool if we did get him in. But like I said, where do we fit him in? And we've got so many guys on the roster we can kind of work with already. Jay Lethal. So I kind of backflipped on what I was going to do. I've given him a written deal for $18,000. So I guess the reason why we gave Jay Lethal a written deal is because he has gotten more popular. We're going to reward him for doing so. We're going to reward him for being, really, really solid for us and getting way more popularity. It has to draw a line where Ring of Honor gets a guy with mid-60s popularity. You want to really have them succeeding. No, not really, but you want to have a guy who's really developing and a guy that you really believe could be the future of your division locked to the contract. It's not a long one, it's 6 months, but we'll see how he goes with that for sure. But yeah, so we'll lock him in, and that way we don't lose him. Because you don't want to lose a guy that you've got plans for or have at least hopes for. That's one of the things I think. But it's always good to have guys working elsewhere, especially if you can't book them yourselves all the time. They improve, but when you are booking them a little bit more, lock them in. Definitely lock them in. Lance Cade staying with WWE. Jack Swagger is going to do a tour with Global Force. And Ryback staying down there with WWE's Developmental. Nakamura wants a pay rise. He's getting $7,000 a month. He wants $23,000. That's what he's worth. He wants $16,000 extra. Which, look, he's deserved that. We can definitely offer that to him. You know, a guy that's been putting on strong performances like that, you know, that's the type of guy that you do give a pay rise to. Not someone that, you know, hasn't really done a hell of a lot, like a Test or someone like that. Yeah, they got a bit more popularity, but they haven't done a lot to really deserve that raise. That's kind of when you lowball them and give them a little bit more. But Nakamura has been excellent for us since bringing him in. Definitely want to give him the full extent of what he is truly worth. That way you keep him happy. So according to some reports, tensions are beginning to rise between WWE and CMLL. So look, there you go, a bit of hostility between the Mexico's big promotion of CMLL, who put on a 79 rated show. Not bad. Chris Hero is working down there, as is Eric Young. So we got a few of our guys down there. And WWE, so they're having a bit of a feud there, which is interesting. But so is WWE and WXW, calling an all-out war. So Vince McMahon and Raven have decided, let's just have a war, which is very weird. Very, very weird. I mean, we're having a war with them, and so is WXW. There you go. WWE not making a lot of fans at the moment. So that's interesting. Very, very interesting. OVW have offered Mark Jindrak a contract offer. So there you go. Mark Jindrak, a guy that we, I believe, had under our contract for quite some time working for us and now developmental. Well, he's going back to WWE perhaps, which is good. That's fine. He was already there. But OVW now want to get him back. So a developmental deal, that's fine by me. I'm happy with that. They're only going to offer him a pay-per-appearance deal, actually. So they're not going to give him a developmental deal, but they're going to bring him back there just to work in the company. I guess that's fine. I guess that is fine. But yeah, Mark Jindrak, another guy who had a lot of potential, very good look about him, and was actually doing really well. We never actually wanted to release him from our developmental. We wanted to keep him down there. He was doing really well for us, but we just kind of forgot to re-sign him, and he was gone. So, whoops, we let him go. But we can always bring him back at some point. But there you go. So Kenta has signed on to do an exclusive deal with All Japan. So I guess it turns out that, there you go. So if he's doing a touring deal, he's gone. So Kenta will stay, we'll go to All Japan and do the deal tour, which is okay. I'm not even that mad. Yeah, we lose Kenta. We can always bring him back in later on. But hopefully maybe it does boost him up. He can go away for 6 months, go away, learn a new hold or two, and come back better than ever. And I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. WWE had no mercy. 91 rated. The Big Show defeated Eddie Guerrero to retain the world title. 93. Can't believe Big Show's still main eventing, still on top. He's their big dog. He's their guy. I mean, Eddie Guerrero, still good to see him. Yeah, we still have him alive in the game, which is fantastic to see how his career would have panned out. And so far, he's done pretty well for himself, averaging 91, averaging 90 across the game. Although 50-50 booking, hasn't been booked in that high. He's had a lot of 99 rated matches though, including a match against The Undertaker. Geez, that would have been something to see. But has he been WWE champion in this save? I don't believe so. So there you go. Hasn't quite been given the ball that you would have hoped. Hasn't quite been able to achieve the big heights. DX beat Cade and Murdoch for a 95 rated match. Wow. You'd have to think DX certainly carried that one. I don't think it was Cade and Trevor Murdoch. Rey Mysterio defeated Funaki and Orlando Jordan to retain the US title. Jeez, that sounds like a stinker. Goldust and Great Khali teaming up. Oh my god, beating Eminem. Oh boy. Carlito and Chris Masters beat the full-blood Italians. Eugene defeated Renee Dupree to keep the IC title. Brian Kendrick defeated Devaro, Chad Dick, and The Miz to keep the Cruiserweight title. The Miz and the Cruiserweight? Okay. Trish defeated Trinity to keep the women's title. Jillian defeated Michelle. Heidenreich defeated Simon Dean. This sounds like a pay-per-view that I'm glad I don't have to watch. Oh boy. That sounds like a bit of a stinker. There you go. That's the big WWE No Mercy pay-per-view. And that's our competition for the month. That's what we got to beat. We got to beat 91. They did have 2 good matches, to be fair, but on paper, not a pretty show. Not a pretty show, but they did deliver in the performance. We have to beat 91 for Bound for Glory, and I'd be worried if we didn't, but we need to beat that. That's the benchmark that WWE has set for us. Sanjay Dutt, we're going to think about his contract. Steve Lewington, there's a name. Good old Steve Lewington, he's an OVW, potential signee for us if we wanted to. Stats aren't quite great, so we probably would not, there you go, another guy who actually had in our 2011 playthrough of WWE. He's there for us. But that being said, one last week to do. The final week of shows in the series, and then it's Bound for Glory, and that is it. We'll show you that next time here on Total Extreme Wrestling. Thank you very much for coming along for this episode. If you did enjoy it, leave a like on it, subscribe to see the last couple episodes, but also make sure you check out our stream series playing WWE 2009 we started, now it's 2011, and also WWE 2018. We played that until WWE 2019 WrestleMania. So a full year of WWE and current day. Make sure you check that out. We just did SummerSlam over there if you haven't already seen it. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next one.